Oh, this is Mark Schwartz from Making the Cut, and I am taking a look at the lines today. Usually, we kind of tape, record, and send it in there. This morning, I had some time, so we're going to actually do this live. Probably go a little bit more in depth than even some of the lines that I'm not really going to take. But we'll talk a little bit, and we start off with, by the way, all the lines are courtesy of BetMGM. But we're going to start off with Dallas and Atlanta. Dallas is favored by 8. They're at home, and that is a tough number because Atlanta has played well at times. And again, it's one of those things, and you always deal with this when you're dealing with the lines. Is it's not necessarily that I think Atlanta will win, but Atlanta certainly could cover that 8, and Dallas is not one of these games that um, personally I would mess with. I don't know if you guys like that game or not, but no, Dallas minus 8 is high. The over under is 54 and a half. If I had a gun to my head and I had to do something, that's probably what I would do. I'd probably do the over under. And even again, that's shaky, but again, that's a game you kind of stay away from, at least in my eyes. So that's not going to be one of our official picks. Next up is Tennessee, the New Orleans Saints. Tennessee minus 3, New Orleans plus 3. This is one of those times where you probably want to take the Saints plus 3 because of the injury to Henry. But I like Tennessee minus 3 in this against New Orleans, especially with Tennessee being at home. I think they have enough, even with the injury to Jones. I think they have enough to cover that 3. Again, not necessarily a game that I would mess around with. The over under on that's 43 and a half. Put a gun to my head, definitely I would probably take the under in that. But it's not something that I would necessarily mess with. Indianapolis minus 10 and a half. Jacksonville, Indies at home. Man, they're minus 500 on the money line. Again, if you're really truly betting real money, you want value. I just don't see the value in the Colts Jags game unless you're taking the Jags plus 10 and a half, or you really do think the Colts can win minus 10 and a half. The other thing you can do when there's lines this big is you can play an adjusted line. Um, that's usually will get it down, and maybe with if you think the Colts could win, not sure about that 10 and a half, maybe you adjust the line down to 5 or something like that. Um, Cleveland and New England is probably the best game of the day. I don't know if it's the best betting game of the day, but probably the best game of the day. Cleveland's getting 2.5 against the Patriots. If you're looking for to bet someone that would be considered an upset, Cleveland is getting plus 115. You might think that's marginal on a $100 bet. That's 115 back, 215 total. Um, I think Cleveland can win this game outright. It's one of those things with Baker Mayfield. Everyone was quick to say, hey, look at how good Baker was without OBJ last week. This automatically means OBJ was the problem. I thought that Dominic Foxworth did a great job of kind of tempering that, saying that, well, a lot of those things were screen passes, the defense setting them up, the defense scoring, so on and so forth. It wasn't that Baker went out here and all of a sudden became, you know, someone Warren Moon, because that's not what happened. But I do like, because Cleveland's defense, if I had to take one of the teams, I do like the Cleveland Cleveland plus 2.5. Um, Buffalo and the Jets. The Jets are plus 13. This is at MetLife Stadium. Buffalo is minus 13. You just have that feeling that Buffalo, this is one of these games where they really like bust out the whooping stick. The only thing that could save the Jets here is if defensively they just do enough to keep that offense in the game, keep that offense viable. The Jets cannot do a whole bunch of going long fields, so the defense is going to have to help them get a short field somewhere down the line. Detroit and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 5.5. That is one of my picks today. I do love the Steelers at home minus the 5.5. One of those ones where they start pulling away in the fourth quarter, because Detroit's been good at times. Those first 3 quarters, fourth quarter gets them. I think Pittsburgh ends up covering here in the fourth quarter. I'll take Pittsburgh minus 5.5. Washington's here at home getting plus 9.5. For those who don't know, I am centered in that DMV, Washington, D.C. area. Um, the Washington football team just seems to be a disaster. And I know we say that every single year. And Tom Brady and those guys are coming to town. Um, Again, it's a line I don't want to mess with. The over-under is 51. Don't want to mess with that either. You might want to take a look at some player props if you really, really want to play this game. I think we all think that Tampa Bay is going to win it outright. It's the 9.5. I think that's a little bit scary, so I would stay away from it. Arizona and Carolina Panthers, it's the same thing as the Washington game. Arizona is 9.5. Again, it's just not a line that I like to mess with the Panthers, even though if I had to pick one, I would take Arizona minus the points being at home. And Carolina's quarterback situation really being a complete mess. And this is not the league to have your quarterback situation be a complete mess. Minnesota's getting 3.5 against the Chargers. This is another one of my picks of the day. I love the Vikings in this, and I'll tell you why. Because you're getting a field goal and a hook with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a lightning rod in here. What I do think that Cousins will do is he'll keep it close. Kirk Cousins always keeps it close. Why? Because he does not take big-time chances. You know he's going to be looking at Thielen. He doesn't throw down the field, so he doesn't turn the ball over. It always gives him this high completion percentage, and then everyone says, "Oh, it's not Kirk Cousins' fault," but it's because he doesn't take any risks down the field. And I think at times that kills Minnesota that he doesn't. But he is good for keeping games close. So I love Minnesota at 3.5 because you're getting that hook too. Hey man, you can't pass that up. Denver minus 1.5. Philadelphia coming to town. Another one of those games where I wouldn't mess with. I think Philadelphia can win this on the road. But it's just that, man, that game is a crazy toss-up. Again, here's a game that I am going to pick. I love Green Bay minus 3 against Seattle because I think the Seahawks, again, just Green Bay having Aaron Rodgers back. I think Aaron Rodgers comes with a chip on his shoulder. There's no doubt with everything that has happened lately, and I don't get into that because we're just talking about the sports aspect. I think he's going to be ready to go, highly motivated. If you're not comfortable with Green Bay minus the 3, I would definitely take. I would definitely look at the over/under, and you can pick that one out yourself. But I like Green Bay minus 3, and it's one of the picks I do like. We're gonna go to Sunday night. Usually Sunday night, either I don't pick or I do a separate segment for. But Sunday night, we're gonna go ahead and pick that here since I went ahead and went live with this as opposed to recording it. It's Kansas City minus 2.5 at Las Vegas with the over/under of 52. I actually like the over. I'm not going to mess around with the line with Kansas City and Las Vegas, but I do like the over 52. I think both teams will be able to score, even though the Raiders have done great with getting pressure on the quarterback. I mean, they've done great with getting pressure on the quarterback, but Mahomes will have plays to make, which leads to my other thing. Player props. I do like player props. 2 player props in this game. Tyreek Hill's longest reception being over 22.5. Love that one. And I love Josh Jacobs rushing receiving over 78.5. So, but again, as far as the number, I like this game being over. So, again, if you look back, I do like Green Bay minus 3, Pittsburgh minus 3.5, Minnesota plus 3.5. I like the over in the Raiders game. I do like Tennessee. I do believe I talked about that earlier. I do like Tennessee minus 3, and those are my picks. So, if you're looking for an upset, again, I would look over at Cleveland, going to New England, getting 2.5, a plus 115. So those are my picks of the day. I was glad to have time today to actually truly go on live and not take this segment, which is why the segment is much longer than what it usually is. Those are my picks. Again, you see my Instagram and Twitter down below. Hey, don't hesitate to send your picks of the day to my Twitter handle. That would be great. We love interaction here at MTC Media. So don't hesitate to ever talk about lines and those things if you like for us to concentrate on more and come back with suggestions. Okay. It's Marcus Washington from MTC Media.